hell is going on here? What did I say I wanted to look up yesterday? I just have such a hard time justifying talking about all these other things that I do believe are important, but in the scheme of things, you know, when you compare it to what's happening, to the genocide that's happening, it just seems selfish and foolish to talk about other shit. I don't know. I feel really weird. I just don't understand how anybody can be so complacent in all of this. You know, I do think it's strange though how because I belong to a lot of different Tartaria pages and whatnot. And you pretty much consistently see people talking about God and then Tartaria and God and Tartaria and God. And it's like, how are you smart enough to question everything but the Bible and Christianity and that bullshit? How does that work? I would love to know why people believe in the Bible. It seems like a pretty simple question. Hey, why do you believe this? What fosters that belief in you? What encourages that belief in you? And yet you never seem to find anybody. Like if you ask me why I hate bad guy land, why I think the bad guy cult needs to go, I'm going to give you a lot of reasons. And I'm definitely not going to get mad at you for asking the question. Yet Christians never seem to be able to answer just such a simple question. What makes you think Christianity is real over Islam? And if that doesn't really show you how racist you are, I guess you're not paying attention, which is convenient. That's pretty much how you get through everything, is by not paying attention. But really, what's the concrete experience, reason, whatever, that you pick this one over the other? Morning, Karen. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a few days. Zika. That could be a chosen. That could be a bad guy. Seen that name plenty of times in the bad guy lore. I don't think you are one. Let's hope you're not one. But why is this so difficult? And you know what's crazy is by asking these questions, it fosters a bunch of hate. You know, Christians will get mad and start coming here and talking shit. And well, I'm glad you're here, Zika. Good to see you. I just hope you're not, you know, a chosen bad guy, because we would hate you. Not hate you. Proudly hate you. Belch, excuse me. And I'm, you know, it's one of these things where it just seems so, you know, all of it's so obvious. And it's like, how do you, what do you do? What methods do you do to, you know, proverbially, I'm mixing my words. What methods do you use to put your head in the sand? The proverbial put your head in the sand. How do you do it? How do you justify to yourself what's going on? I've been partying on the Stranglers and the Sex Pistols on Saturday, only home yesterday. That I did. Wet shark. It's kind of my thing. don't even know when that started. It's been a long, long time, though, I can tell you that. What are those words called? Where the word sizzle sounds like what it does? Belch. Sounds like one of those. I forgot what those words are called. But anyway, like I want to know, like, you know, it shouldn't be such a difficult thing. It shouldn't be such a nasty, awful conversation for me to say, look, I don't believe in the shit you believe in. And I actually see there's a lot wrong with it. So can you answer me what you do to override all of that wrong shit? You know, what do you do to override all the pedophilia associated with your belief structure? How do you reconcile that? How do you know, okay, well, yeah, I know God doesn't pay attention all the time, I guess, but my name is actually Zai, which means life in Kurdish, but I put Zai because it's what people call me. Why do people call you something different than what your name is? That's weird. Yeah, my name's Fred, but people call me Jim. Nice to meet you. You're Kurdish. Well, welcome. I'm all good with Kurdish people. There's only one group on here that if you identify as the one group, it's, you know, get away from me. I want nothing to do with you. You're gross. You're weird. Your cult rapes children. But like, I always get people that will come on here, Trumpanzees usually, that, well, it's the Trumpanzee style of doing things, right? You know, whenever you bring up, hey, so why do you support Trump? What's the good stuff that Trump's done? Blah, blah, blah. You start pointing out Trump shit. Trumpanzees immediately go, oh, what did Biden do? What are you, a Biden supporter? You must support Biden then, huh? You voted for Kamala. It's like, I don't know where you got that from, but that's how you do it, I guess. You make arguments that you can argue instead of answering for what's being said, I guess, right? It'll come back to me. I'll erase you to remember what those words are collectively named. Right. It's not onomatopoeia. It's, I don't remember. Figure it out though, shall we? Words that sound like what they are. It is onomatopoeia. Huh, I got it right. Huh, look at me. Look at me, smarty pants. Ha, ha. I like when I do that. I already got it. I already won. Onomatopoeia, yeah. I amaze myself sometimes. But like I said, a lot of the times when I bring up, you know, why are you a Christian? What does it do? Blah, blah, blah. The immediate response is, oh, what about the Muslims? I don't hear you talking about Islam. I don't hear you talking about Muslims. Well, the thing is, Muslims don't run my life. You know, the reality is, even though Islam is the biggest religion in the world, when it comes to the United States, it's very much nothing. I mean, there's lots of them, but, you know, they don't do anything. If anything, they've been scared into submission. Learnt, that's a European thing. That's across the pond thing. We don't say learnt here. And you know, when I first started doing stuff like this and Europeans would say something like that, I'd be like, you're stupid. You don't know language. Learnt? What's learnt? You mean learned? But over there, across the pond, learnt is actually a commonplace word. Growing up, I learned a lot, so now I'm in advanced English. But again, so let's get to the point. Like, what makes people believe what they believe? Do you guys do that with your own self? Do you guys like go over your own shit, what you believe in, and shut up, shut up? Morning. Do you do that with your own shit? Do you question yourself? Why do you engage in bigotry towards gay people? Why do you if you're racist, why are you racist? Why do you believe the things you believe about any of it? Why do you support Trump? Why are you a Christian? You know? And it's weird because you would think people like you would require that. When people talk about things, people always be, well, what's your evidence for that? I've had people tell me over and over again, show me your evidence God doesn't exist. Excuse me. Show me the evidence God doesn't exist. And it's like, how do I show you evidence that something doesn't exist? Prove to me there's not a leprechaun dancing around in my hand right now. I can see it. I have faith it's there. Every day is a school day till the day you die, is my belief. Sure. I was playing a game called Roblox, and some simp girls were simping over me. It was really uncomfortable. Some said I got a key to her lock, which meant my lock. I left the game immediately. I don't know what that means. I mean, I don't know the jargon and stuff. My kids would, but they love that game. Kristen, what's happening, Kristen? Kristen Stife. That's one of those days where, again, you kind of like, is that chosen? Is that a bad guy? We don't want bad guys here. Well, actually, I do. I'd love to hear from the bad guys. I'd love to hear why somebody chooses Judaism. What makes you think that's good? Especially with everything going on right now. Why would you, what other than the advantages and opportunities and favoritism and Semitism that you demand and oftentimes get, what is the reason that you read over the texts, you talk to the people involved, and you go, yeah, I want to be like that. I'm going to grow my little sideburns down real far and curls and wear ugly hats and, be the worst people in the world as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I know there are cannibals out there and shit like that. There are really awful belief structures, but a lot of this shit is like, separate, far away. They're not influenced by a whole bunch of outside shit, and it's been that way forever. As far as the people know, this is the way. I get that, but the people that like, you're part of the Western world. You have access to technology and all that shit. How do you still believe the worst, dumbest things? I never understand that. What motivates people? What inspires people? To me, logistics is the most important aspect of any argument. Doesn't matter necessarily what you're saying, but how was that thing facilitated? What was the initial motivation to facilitate whatever you're talking about? If you apply that simple thought process to like what's going on here, the U.S. is bombing Iran. Well, why? you know, logistically, I guess the planes and such, I get that to some degree. I mean, there sure is a lot more to that than I know of. But what's the motivation? What's the reason? And you won't find anybody answering that. I don't think any single group is a monolith. Okay. Logistically, that's too many syllables for you, huh? Yeah, that's why I said it. So now we're going to have dumbass. Now the dumbass is going to start to come in, and because they can't answer the questions that are being asked, because they can't handle this like a reasonable adult, they're going to start talking stupid. And that's usually how this world works. Like I said, as a joke, I ate human flesh, but it was a huge mistake because a girl that was actually a cannibal died. Said she eats human fingers. I thought she was joking. She probably was. I mean, who gives a shit? That kind of stuff, all that kind of shit is like so low level. And what some dumbass does, I don't care. But I don't understand, like, what motivates people? I for the life of me, I cannot understand. Well, I can. I can only understand the troll thing in one sort of way. You know, when you're a troll who finds pages like mine and then just starts talking shit, I believe it's because you just desperately want attention, and you're not capable of engaging in the intelligent conversation. So you have that little kid mentality, like the kid that gets in trouble all the time at school because he doesn't get the attention that he needs at home and shit like that. Like, that's the only way it makes sense to me. I can't for the life of me think, like, why a human being has nothing else going on in their world that they would, I mean, I get it. Even if you're somebody that goes around and tries to, like, pick fights online, I can at least understand it in that way. You want to test your, keep your mental blade sharp, so you go test your mettle against people. I get that. But when it's more of just like you find the page like mine where, stated purpose is we kill pedophiles and we end the bad guy cult and the slavery and all that. And you can't engage, so you just say shit like, the word you just said is too many syllables for you. Like, it's just, what motivates that? Again, other than you hear what's going on, you hear the conversation at hand, and you can't engage. You don't know what to say in any sort of intelligent way that's going to make you look smart. So you just go to the full extreme. Well, I can't do this properly, so I might as well just go full out, I guess. I don't know. My bro Barry, who was born into Israel and therefore Judaism, was just called a self-deprecating capo, the worst insult from one to another from there, just for speaking out on Netanyahu. I mean, the idea of the worst insult is just such a silly thing to me. Why anyone would be upset by something, especially strangers have to say. Like, it's one thing if your spouse that you love comes on here and just tears you apart, calls you all kinds of names, says all these bad things about you, then I guess, yeah, you'd be upset. But when people who don't even know you talk shit, what do you, and if they're calling you what is considered to be the worst insult, blah, 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 instead of addressing what you're talking about, that's ad hominem. And that's is the de facto mechanism that people use when they can't argue. Wow, I just stopped to see what you were all about, but you are saying is if you come here and disagree, then you are a troll. Yeah, that's exact. See what I mean? Do you see what I mean? This is a beautiful example of it, right? Because if you have to make up the argument, what validity does it have? I didn't say anything about disagreeing with me makes you a troll. As a matter of fact, I encourage people to disagree with me. But see again, now let's see if you can pay attention this time. It's that if you disagree with me, but you can't make any arguments as to why, so you just start saying stupid shit or making up your own argument. I don't understand that motivation. Did you understand this? Do you get what's being said? I don't really know how to say it. I don't know how to dumb things down any more than I already do. I try to dumb them down because I know there's a lot of dumb people here. And a lot of us are dumb because that's how we've been purposefully programmed. But this is how this works. Like, again, this Amy person literally thought, I'm gonna get him. Blah, blah, blah. And she typed that out, looked at it, thought, that's good, and then clicked enter. And it's like, when did I say what you said? Why do you have to make things up? Is it, again, because you can't actually answer for what I'm saying? So you're just sort of saying whatever comes to your head? Yes, I'm the fat redheaded guy. Gotcha. I'm the fat redhead with the freckles and shit. Gotcha. Like, did you hear somebody say that at some point, and you didn't necessarily watch the movie, but you thought it was a funny thing, so you're repeating it? Bro is the generic white man. Oh, yep, generic white man. I sure do look white, don't I? We live on a planet, then Trump is the Lord, and there are reptilians. Like, again, you see this? Like, this person just starts, I can't address what you're actually saying, so I'm going to start talking to, I don't know, other trolls? I don't even know who he's talking to. Like, he's not necessarily specifically talking to one of you, but he's talking, like, in general. Like, people just asked him to describe what's going on, and he's like, oh, well, this is what this is. Like, it's really strange. Always want to talk about secret society and conspiracies. What would you prefer? Do you like watching people cut up vegetables and shit? Is that your thing? I go online and I don't want to see people talking about the way the world works. Crazy conspiracies like bad guy land is committing genocide right now as we speak. Like there's an unnecessary war. Why do we bomb Iran? Why is this guy crazy conspiracies bombed Iran? Who bombed Iran? Like this is the best he can come up with. I'm done. I don't want to make because I'm gonna cry because stupidity comes my way. Gotcha. Hey, you generic Muslim? Yeah, probably. It's funny too because as crazy as Christians are, and as dumb as Christians tend to be, it only proves the point that they all are the same Abrahamic religious bullshit when you talk to Muslims. Because Muslims have, just as much nothing to say. You ask Muslims why they believe what they believe, what motivates them, all that shit, and they literally have nothing. It'll just be some dumb, some ad hominem shit. The whole world disagrees with you, says Mike Rosenthal. Yeah, Rosenthal, because my group is on the way out, right? Every single non-you hates you. Everybody hates you people. And you're so stupid that you're opening people's eyes to the fact that bad guy land is just the invisible house. That's nothing. It's the cult inside bad guy land that You know, the Matitza Bipa cult that everybody is fucking focusing on and understanding. You know, every time you see them on TV, they're just saying stupid shit. They can't make any reasonable arguments, so they whine and cry. Oh, you're not allowed to say that. Don't you? If you say that, that's anti-Semitism. And they just hide behind that shit. You know, oh, what you talking about? Palestine isn't a place. I don't know what you're talking about. Making these dumbass circular arguments. You know, somebody gets you wrapped up in that shit, right? The whole Palestine. You understand, if I read the comments, I have to respond to the comments. So it's going to make it harder. I can't just read all of the comments. That makes it, then how can I respond? I mean, this is just silly. Of course he is. Have you just, this guy got alcoholic written out. See, look at this. Look at how you point out how stupid these people are. So then they just start attacking because they can't override what you're saying. You know? It's literally the same thing over and over again. And now you are just calling me dumb. Okay. If you're dumb enough to do the thing that I'm accusing you of, after I accuse you of it, you know, I don't even have to call you dumb. You literally do it yourself. It's silly. Yeah, but I'm letting you know that's what one who was known to bury and considered a bro hurled that insult knowing he was potentially hurting a fellow loved one with what they say is the worst. Yeah, well, I mean, look at what they do to their children. You know, there's the whole Brit Milah, Matitza Bipa ritual, the cutty, slicey, sucky ritual that's done to all of the boys. And then there's the, you know, the ritualistic sexual abuse that's done. It's well documented. I really suggest everybody go look up the website, Israel Hayom, Hayom. The article is called Bottom of Darkness. And it's an in-depth expose into the ritualistic SA that is consistently done all over bad guy land. All the different communities, it's all the same kind of ritual stuff. And it's your most stereotypical worst nightmare kind of shit. Standing in a circle around a pentagram naked, inserting things into children, holding their heads underwater, making them stick their hands into boiling water, like all kinds of crazy shit. And then just all of the rape. Dude, be told you say they have to lie. They have to lie. You can't make reasonable, articulable points. You're like the average cop, you know, the reasonable, articulable suspicion. You don't have it, but you're trying to make the arrest. I bet he has like 60 DUIs. This is how dumb they are. Nobody can have 60 DUIs, you dumbass. You would be in prison. By your third one, I believe, it's like felony and you just get locked up. But this is how stupid, this guy thought that was this guy had like 60 DUIs. I'm a dumb chosen and I can't make any arguments to what he says. So I'm going to just make up crazy, weird shit. You know, for you being chosen, you sure don't seem to come with very much. Like you would think if you're the chosen, you would be smarter, but you're definitely not. You're like arguing with a brick wall. You mean there's nothing to see here? No, you're the unemployed loner that goes on YouTube Live and talks about conspiracy theories. Yeah. Because, you know, going on YouTube is such a strange, awkward thing. Nobody does that. And I'm not sure which conspiracies I'm talking about. Everything I'm talking about is true, which is why you won't answer for it. If you could debunk anything I'm saying, you absolutely would. But instead, you're trying to lay these dumb blankets down to cover your ass because you can't. Do you think that you have knowledge? Would advise you to get in touch with reality. Get a job and fix your family. Yep, this is what it is. Anything but talking about that genocide that you seem to not give a shit about, or the pedophilia you don't seem to care about. I don't think any drug should be banned. I mean, it's weird, right? Because there's shit like crocodile and all these other crazy drugs. And fentanyl is just insane. We need to do something about fentanyl, but we never will. They'll never be able to stop that. So I think it's important that we regulate, that we make, like, people don't smoke K2 because that's the fun thing to do. Most people smoke K2 because they're not allowed to smoke weed. I know when I was on probation 20 plus years ago, Jesus, almost 30 years ago, it was like I drank all the time. I would drink all the time, and you could find like some of those K2 products. They weren't nearly as good as they are today. But you could find like some lawn clippings in a bag, and they'd call it like some spice or some shit, whatever. But I know, like, if I would have been allowed to smoke weed, that's what I would have done. I would have drank occasionally. But taking away the natural thing is what makes people go towards the synthetic. Stop talking about things you don't understand. Yep, that's what it is. How do you get an understanding of something if you don't talk about it? Right? Shouldn't you talk about things you don't understand so you can gain some sort of understanding? This is how stupid my opposition is. It's to the point where I don't even like reading it because it's so boring. You don't speak for me, Mike. Sorry, -1. Mike seems to know what's up. Seriously, you should slow down the smoking. It's making you combative and delirious. That's how weed works? Weed makes you combative and delirious? That must be it. It's not smoking, it's lack of intelligence. See, this person, this is one of my favorite examples. This person is motivated to keep saying dumb shit, right? Keep throwing in little insults and stuff, like trying to hurt, because obviously what I'm saying is hurting them. If they weren't hurt by what I was saying, why would they be attacking so much? That's not how that works, right? You don't just talk shit to somebody to talk shit. They did something to you. They hurt you in some way. So obviously what I'm saying is hurting these people, outing these people, and they're desperately trying to get me back. But because they're not smart enough to, and because there is nothing I'm getting that's wrong, everything I'm saying is true and right. There is no argument. If there was one, they would make it. Understand that. Who's going to come on here and, like, some guy is mixing blue and yellow paint together, and he's like, this is going to make the prettiest red color ever. Everybody's going to come on there and be like, no, dude, that's going to make green. It's going to make green. Nobody would sit there and be like, your haircut is still, you must be, they would just try to correct the problem. I bet this guy has like 60 DUIs. Oh, sorry. I bet this guy has like 60 DUIs. Sorry, I said it wrong. His name is Mike Rosenthal. What am I supposed to do? Saying people are intellectually beneath you over and over doesn't make it true. Well, I haven't said anyone is intellectually beneath me yet, but now that you mention it, thank you for proving the point. If the shoe fits, serious mental health issues in this country. Oh, if you don't believe in the sky daddy and that the chosen people are untouchable and they should be allowed to rape all the children they want and commit all the genocide they want, you have mental issues. That makes so much sense. Hey man, a 14-day, see, I mean, again, am I supposed to keep reading this? What the hell are you on about? Because if you sat here for 2 minutes, you wouldn't be able to figure it out, right? Congratulations, you got a new shirt. Actually, this is the same shirt I had on yesterday. I would expect you to have called that out instead of, making the stupid comment. But then again, why would I expect anything but the dumbest shit from you people? Planetary energy is sacred as well as a problem is an unnecessarily imbalance. It's not 100%. I'm on Adderall. You should regulate your own men. Defund Israel. No, it's not defund them. It's destroy them. Netanyahu is why those of us punching the clock work a third of our time for free. It's very true. Well, Netanyahu is just a figurehead. He's like Trump. He's not like real. Like he doesn't have any real power. He just says what's written for him. These are just figureheads. So Netanyahu definitely, like he's one of the worst people to ever exist as far as we're given. But he's just another bot. His writers tell him what to say. Is the substitute are not real things just to get viewers? As a former Navy sailor, I've been in a sub, yup. Sure you have. Hate a job, people are dumb, people short-minded and judgmental. The guy's weird, but the hell with the fighting foreign nations, shitty wars. At least guys talking, you're just watching shadows. Blah, 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 real quick, 99% of the chat are short-minded and judging. 90% of the chat are bots. So I gotta educate everybody. This is one of the most important things we do here because providing undeniable education, undeniable evidence is key, right? So first and foremost, we're going to talk about Naftali Bennett. In 3 years between 19 and 22, bad guy land had 5 prime ministers. 3 years, 5 prime ministers. Netanyahu, Benny Gantz. Netanyahu, this guy, Naftali Bennett. Then Naftali Bennett stepped down and Yair Lapid took over. Because, the prime minister of a place can just step down and some other guy can just take over. That happened in like April or May or something of 2023. Yair Lapid takes over, or of 2022. And then Netanyahu is put back in place in his dictatorship position, right? So Naftali Bennett won the prime minister seat because Netanyahu believes that everybody in bad guy land, once they turn 18, should do military service. So then they're all reserves if when the time comes. Naftali Bennett's, like the only thing he disagreed with Netanyahu on, the platform that he ran on, was that they shouldn't do any of the fighting. That's what we are for. That's what the Goyim are for, especially the Americans. So Naftali Bennett ended up winning by saying when we turn 18, we should be allowed to go on our pilgrimages. Jesus. The government paid trip around the world, go party and live your life. And they say it's in study, but it's just an excuse. So Naftali Bennett was that guy. So he is the former, huh? You just said with the dogs. So this is him.
Conjunction with My Israel has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
I came here to learn.
You get that? That it's balanced and Zionist in nature. He's saying they arranged an instruction day for wiki editors, Wikipedia being the #1 source of information in the world, an instruction day to teach the editors how to edit the narrative so that it makes bad guy land and the Jays come out on top. He's admitting it, that they control the information, that when we goyim look something up, they want us to have their perspective of it. I don't really know how, like, this is to me as smoking gun evidence as you can get. Like, I don't know what else would you require. If I said to you that I can show you a prime minister, like if it was Russia, and I was like, I can show you the prime minister of Russia, the premier of Russia, doing an interview where he talks about how they control the information that we get. Wouldn't that be enough for you to be, to at least take notice? Like, holy shit, wait, what? Balanced Zionist? What do you mean? Right? So to me, knowing that's how they do things, and the funny thing is I've been saying Wikipedia is the source forever just because I knew they controlled it, and it is the #1 source of information. So instead of looking on the alexjones.com page or something like that, who's a fucking clown, I want to go to the source. I want to use the source material. I don't want there to be any sort of questions of legitimacy or whatever. This is the source material. Not saying it's true, but this is what they want us to know, right? So by then going to Wikipedia, and I just discovered this, thanks to Candace Owens, actually. I just discovered this this video. I didn't know it existed till very recently. But, so now we know that the source that I'm giving you is written the way they want it to be written. The information I'm giving you is how they want us to think. It's Zionist in nature, right? So if I read from there, you can't say, oh, this is just some conspiracy. Like, the thing about Wikipedia is people always like to say, anybody can edit Wikipedia. No, they can't. You might be able to make an edit, but it flags the system, and then the system checks your edit, and if your edit doesn't go with their narrative, they get rid of it. It's really simple. That's if you can even edit it. A lot of times those pages aren't, you're not allowed to edit them. But Team Jorge, right? Candace seems to be a champion for bad guy hate. Well, good for her. And actually, she doesn't push the bad guy hate, which she should. The crazy part is them tricking us into thinking we're not supposed to hate them. Why shouldn't we hate them? If we base your hatred off of what people do, off of people's actions and their stated beliefs and whatnot, nobody deserves hatred more than them. I'm so proud to hate them. I'm so proud of my anti-supremacism. I know what words mean. Here, we'll actually come back here real quick. So I always have to do this so people, because you can tell that the people are always looking for their way out of things, right? So, hang tight. Okay, so we are pulling up the Google machine. We're going to click Semitism definition, Google machine, Merriam-Webster. Okay, Merriam-Webster.com, the de facto language people. Semitism, it's a noun.
Semitism.
See, I'm on the page. Number 1A, Semitic character qualities. Language occurring in another language. Number 2, policy or predisposition favorable to bad guys. See that? Policy the rules and regulations, or predisposition the attitude towards favorable to bad guys. Do you understand how insane that is? He ignores everything he doesn't want to address. If you actually made points, there'd be no reason to ignore them. But if I'm supposed to read all your crybaby shit, what's the point? Look at this shit. Just a crack. Yep, a crackhead and meth head with a lie, because anybody that was actually sober would look at the screen and address the questions. But so this is the stuff I'm supposed to address. What questions is this? And at the end of the day, let's just say I smoked all the meth and crack in the world. I was the biggest meth and crack addict there is. I shot the smack. I drank all the alcohol. I hit my wife. I beat my children. I kicked my dog. I do all these terrible things, right? Does that override the genocide taking place? Does that override the slavery? Does that override pedophilia? Is anything that I do worse than what Bad Guy Land is doing right now with this genocide? Like, you can try your best with your dumbass nonsense, but that's just not how it works. You know, it doesn't, your arguments are so stale, and it's always the same arguments. For the people that are new here, understand that it's the same arguments. It's a different fake profile, but it's the same argument. And let me finish proving it to you, right? Because this is the actual proof that you guys don't know about. So we're going to look up Team Jorge, Jorge, I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia page, okay? Team Jorge is the name given to an outfit of Israeli contractors specialized in the use of malign cyber activities, including hacking, sabotage, and bot farm social media disinformation campaigns to manipulate the outcomes of elections, right? So they're so powerful and efficient that they can manipulate the outcome of an election. You think maybe they could fuck with a guy's page on YouTube? Maybe, just maybe. No one cares, right? If no one cared, then why would they still be here? If you really wanted to talk about submarines, you'd go look at the first 9 parts, like I tell you every day, like I know you've heard me say many, many times. You know, most of you don't watch, you know, it's not like live videos are the only things you watch. You watch all kinds of videos, past tense videos. So if you really want to talk about submarines, it's not something that can happen in just a quick time. It's something that, for me, took about 9 parts to debunk. Watch the first 9 parts of submarines are not real. And you know, there's lots of arguments made using the information they want us to have and all of it. And if you really wanted to, you could just watch that and debunk what's being said. You could make your comments, and I would see your comments, and then I could bring it up the next time, whatever it is. But you don't want to do that, right? You just want me to stop talking about genocide. You want me to stop talking about how Bad Guy Land controls social media. You know, who's going to do that? Who is motivated to get the guy? You could be watching anything else in the world. YouTube, you have so many options, it's unreal. Yet you're going to sit here for hours on end every day begging me to talk about submarines when I've already talked about it. And I encourage you to debunk what I'm saying, to do to me what I do to everything else. But instead, this is how this works, right? This is how this works. You don't want me talking about this stuff because this isn't more important. My belief in submarines is way more important than everyone who's on here, everyone you know, having their reality manipulated by one group and proving it. What I believe in, who I am, and you know that's the truth for them. The way they obsess over me shows you just how important I am to them. But again, if you're new or something like that, look at what's being done. They're trying to make it seem like my own personal beliefs are more important than everything else. You know? It's a strange thing. So, one of the organization's primary tools, now, the organization, Team Jorge, is a black ops organization. It's just one. There are many, many, many more Israeli black ops organizations. But this is just one that got exposed, right? And the bot farm social media thing that they have, this guy brags about having, in 2022, had 30,000 bots at his command that he could just sick on people. 30,000 bots that they could unleash on anyone they wanted to. Which really shows you how, you know, certain people become stars or certain people get canceled. When you have this kind of power, just one organization has 30,000 bots. Imagine how many other black ops organizations have 30,000 bots at their disposal. Right? Don't you see, like, and you would think, like, your average American, you don't care about this? You don't care that, you know, because you were told repeatedly that Russia interfered in the 2016 election. They told you this happened. They never showed us how. They never proved that Russia interfered. They never showed you the evidence for it. They just said it happened. And it was supposed to be this really important thing that Russia interfered to get Trump to win, even though Trump lost by 2.7 million votes, and the swamp full of bad guys, full of chosen bad guys that he promised he was going to drain, put him in anyway. You know, never mind all that. but like, this is that evidence. Like, I wish these people could provide any sort of evidence as to why I'm wrong, what I'm wrong about, even a reasonable explanation as to why I'm wrong and what motivates them. But this is evidence. I'm literally providing you with unquestionable evidence, undeniable evidence. Remember, they control Wikipedia. So anything that presents them in this light, you know. Oh yeah, like I was saying with the Russia thing, sorry. You're supposed to care when it's Russia, but when it's proven that it was actually bad guy land that interfered with the election, oh, you shouldn't talk about it, you shouldn't care. This is provable. There is no Russia interference, you know, proven thing. And this is, again, I can't stress this enough. This is just one black ops organization. They have hundreds, if not thousands of them. Extremely well funded. Beyond regulation. This is how they operate. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The group was exposed in February, not February. Everybody says February. It's not February, it's February. February 2023, after an award-winning undercover operation by journalists from Israel and France as part of a consortium of investigative journalists coordinated by Forbidden Stories. There's actually a bunch of other countries involved, including the U.S. The organization has been active since at least 2015 and boasts of having manipulated 33 presidential elections worldwide. Gotta love that they throw that 33 in there. But don't worry, many of them are in Africa. Now, many means 4 or more. So out of the 27 successful cases, at least 4 have been in Africa. That's all that's saying. That's a lot of power at the point and press of 1 digit, isn't it? Not sure what you mean. The activities were revealed following a 2022 sting operation in Tel Aviv carried out by 3 undercover journalists who posed as prospective clients and filmed their interactions with Tal, T-A-L, Hanan, H-A-N-A-N, the group's leader and former Israeli special Forces operative, in which he explained the inner workings of the organization. According to Tal Hanen, the group's leader, Team Jorge has existed for more than 2 decades and has been engaged in propaganda and disinformation activities in more than 30 countries. I mean, if they have 33 presidential elections, it couldn't be since 2015. This has to go way far back, right? However, its first documented activity dates back to 2015. Geez, just before, with the Cambridge Analytica scandal, but just before the election that Trump lost by 2.7 million votes and was put in anyway by the same swamp he said he was going to drain. That's when the documentation first shows up. Actually, in 2015, when the election was taking place. Oh, no. Yeah. No. Election happens in 2016, but they take over in 17 and then they go to 21. Yeah. It's kind of confusing. And you just sort of, whatever. And again, look at the comments. Look, right? Instead of actually addressing what's being said, the bomb of information that's being dropped here. Look at the dumb comments. They say, it's meth, it must be math. This is all they can come up with. These are Americans, right? These are supposed to be just regular old white people. All these fake profiles are just supposed to be regular white people who are literally finding out who is behind the election fraud, who literally controls social media. And it must be meth. I must be on meth because I'm reading Wikipedia. And again, meth addicts love to smoke out of pretty pipes, don't they? It's just so goofy. It's so weird how dumb they are, and that they don't realize that they're actually validating everything I say. Or maybe they do, but they just figure the majority of you are too dumb to notice. But this is, instead of literally telling you exactly what I'm getting wrong, this is what they want to do. It's so fucking goofy. They're going to, talk about how I won't argue with them. They can keep coming up with all of these excuses as to why they don't actually say anything of merit, and it's my fault. But they won't just say what the fuck, I'm wrong about. Or what the fuck, any of it. They don't say anything of merit. Remember us literally watching their amendments on October 7th, hiding their early entries by around 20 minutes? Yeah. Well, we didn't watch it live. It was a month later for me. I think it was November 7th that I went to the Wikipedia page. And back then, you could just go look at the edit history. It was really easy. You could just click on edit history and then click back a bunch of times, and it would take you to the first edit. And the first edit for the Israel-Hamas War 2023 Wikipedia page was made at 6:22 a.m. local time, October 7th. The thing is, the supposed super surprise attack that no one knew about and took them totally off guard, blah, blah. There's no footage of the total false flag where no bad guys died and no bad guys were taken hostage, despite what you're told. That shit started at 6:30 a.m. So how would a Wikipedia page, I don't know when it was created. I don't know what first edit means. I don't know if the page was created and empty and then the first edit was made to the page, or if that means when it was created. But either way, it was 8 minutes before the event took place. And they literally laid out the entire narrative for what was going to happen for the next couple days in the first few minutes, or in the first 3 hours or so. I mean, it was 100% proof. Like, there's no way around it. I don't know, other than making it inaccessible to people, so now you can't see it for yourself. But this is, just think about how this is working right now. Think about the fact that there are all these goofy people that just aren't saying anything. They want to keep changing the subject to submarines when the submarine part has already been done. If you think I'm wrong, when I know you've all heard me say this because you've been here so many times. If you want the submarine conversation, go watch the first 9 parts. Debunk the best you can. Make me look stupid. Do what you can. Yuck. For everybody else that's here and you're wondering what's going on, just ask yourself, why don't they just address what's being said? Why are they so desperate to change the subject? Who is going to do that? Who's going to think that way? Who's going to hear what I'm saying and be like, nah, I don't care about my U.S. tax dollars. America first. I don't care about the fact that we're sending a bunch of kids to go die, some troops to go die for more bad guy wars. Like, this is just insane. I don't care that they control my social media page. I definitely don't care about the Palestinian children being starved to death. Like they're lucky to be hit by a bomb at this point, so they don't have to go through the pain and suffering of starving to death. Or they're lucky enough that they get some of the food that Israel, the people that are causing the need for the aid to begin with, have taken over the food distribution. So now, if you want food to feed your children, you have to get it from your enemies who are known to poison shit, who are known to put explosives in pagers and you know, all this crazy shit that they do. You have to then take food from them? I highly suggest anybody look up well poisoning and see the narrative there. Because there's only one group that is consistently associated with poisoning drinking water systems. So much so that it has its own entry. Oh yeah, we've always gotten most of our shit from enemies. What the fuck are you talking about? What does that even mean? Like, do you understand? It's so easy to see why I don't answer any of this nonsense. There's a kid on the neighbor in my house. The pagers? What the fuck? I don't know stuff. You don't know about Israel intercepted somewhere in the manufacturing process. They intercepted a bunch of pagers and cellular devices set to go to Lebanon. And then on one day, in 2 different waves, those pagers exploded, killing tens of people, maybe hundreds, injuring thousands. They knew, it's all well known. We can actually talk about it here in a second. Thanks for putting the eyes on that. I always forget. See, I'm so used to doing this that I just sort of assume that a lot of this shit is commonplace knowledge. I forget that you guys don't know shit. You know, I forget just how distracted everyone is. So, we'll be quick about this then. One of the organization's primary tools is a software package called Advanced Impact Media Solutions, or AIMS. The software automates centralized control of thousands of fake social media profiles on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, TikTok, and others like YouTube. I mean, it's in black and white. It's right there. It's undeniable that this is a thing that they want us to know that they do. And I just, what else do you need? Like, this is troll farms, and this is a foreign agency that specializes in espionage and attacking those who speak out against bad guy land. And you'll see all kinds of videos of Zuckerberg talking about how proud he is that Facebook goes after troll farms, and they got rid of 1,000 profiles out of China and 800 profiles out of the Philippines. And yet, this one bad guy land black ops group brags about having 30,000 profiles. And you don't hear any stories about Zuckerberg and Facebook going after them. So the automated side. Now here's a different side. Again, Wikipedia. This is called act.il. Act.il was a social networking service used by supporters of Bad Guy Land to oppose anti-Bad Guy Land content such as the BDS movement, boycott, divestments, and sanctions. Its activities were referred to as an online propaganda campaign and a virtual situation room for pro-Bad Guy Land experts. ACT-IL, pay attention, directed its users to missions, quote, missions, to like, comment on, and share pro-Bad Guy Land material on social media. It also asked users to flag, report, and respond to criticisms of Bad Guy Land. Users were guided on how to respond, which is why they all sound the same, which might entail writing a reply using the provided talking points or sharing or upvoting an allied comment. The app also provided users with ready-made memes promoting Bad Guy Land's perspective for them to share. By completing missions, users earned points, unlocked badges, and had their scores displayed on leaderboards. According to Plus 972, which is a bad guy, like one of the major Bad Guy Land news online sources. It's a news magazine, but it's online. ACT-IL was the centerpiece of a digital campaign called 4IL, the number 4IL, or For Bad Guy Land, announced in 2017 by Gilad Erdan, then the Minister of Strategic Affairs, for the promotion of Bad Guy Land and delegitimization of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions BDS movement. The act would assign users to missions to challenge social media posts it considered to be critical of Bad Guy Land or in favor of the BDS movement. Erdan called it an iron dome of truth. ACT-IO was a joint project of the private Bad Guy Land University, who gives a shit, and the US-based Bad Guy Land American Council, Sheldon Adelson's group, The Maccabee Force, the Maccabee Task Force, one of Sheldon Adelson's foundations, is a major funder of ACT-IL. The organization behind ACT-IL is staffed by former intelligence officers and has a collegial relationship with the Bad Guy Land intelligence community. It had a close relationship with Bad Guy Land's Ministry of Strategic Affairs, which combats the BDS movement, which it views as a threat. According to Mondo Weiss, an email sent in March 22 to the app's users announced that the app will be shut down, but the users should continue to interact with ACT-IL's content on its other social media platforms. So they got rid of the paper trail app, and they now just use the platforms. They use the fucking fake their ability to override the need for identification when you make a profile on a lot of these social media platforms. Like, don't you ever wonder how there's so many fake profiles? How do they get to be a fake profile, right? Because they can override the shit. And then, so what you have just seen is this is the human component. This is them not just using the automated system, the Team Jorge system, but this is the human backup. When the automated system alerts and flags the humans then attack in the best way they can, which is usually just stupid nonsense, right? Because they are the dumbest people in the world. Take this guy to court, then he'll debate on whether or not submarines exist. You see how desperate they are? Nobody is going to engage in this conversation because they can't. How would you even begin to deny what's being said? It's right here in front of you. There is no denial. You can cry all you want to, but there's no denial. Enter human error, par example, see above. Exactly. There's a lot of this is the bots bullshit. But then there's the stuff that goes a little bit further, doesn't quite say the same things that the other same profiles do. And you just see how desperately stupid they are. It's not like I'm sitting here trying to argue the merits of unicorn poop. Something that requires faith, something that doesn't exist, and it's obvious, and you know, I'm just foolish. How could you think unicorn poop, blah, blah, blah. That would be at least understandable. This is the truth. This is the truth that they want you to know. This means we only know a small portion of it. But the small portion that we're allowed to know, I mean, it's pretty outrageous, don't you think? Israel pagers. Israel pagers attack. All right, let's see. Is there a Wikipedia page for this? Oh, shit. All right, hey, they have a page. On September 17th and 18th, 2024, thousands of handheld pagers and hundreds of walkie-talkies intended for use by Hezbollah. So this is where you can see the wiki or the bad guy land, the Naphtali Bennett interference. And look at, this just happens to be one of those pages that's totally locked up. So nobody can interfere. They don't even have to worry about having to check the edits on this one. They probably locked it up because so many people kept correcting shit. And you know it's bullshit because of the first line. They were intended for use by Hezbollah. That's weird because it was all civilians that got hurt. Intended for use by Hezbollah. I just can't even believe, like, this is so stupid. Exploded simultaneously in two separate events across Lebanon and Syria in an Israeli attack nicknamed Operation Grim Beeper. This is how fucking awful they are. They make jokes about it. These are the people that did a gender reveal by blowing up a civilian building. Find the video anywhere you want. Here, I'll even show you. More about. Okay. Israel soldiers use Gaza bombing for gender reveal. Listen to him laughing. It's a boy. That was what they did. That's who we're talking about. They're so fucking sick. But anyway, this is another great example. Operation Grim Beeper, because it's just a big joke. According to an unnamed Hezbollah official, I love how they always do that. Whenever they're trying to use propaganda that supposedly the bad guy said, they always unnamed. This unnamed official reached out to who, on what, and where? Did he have it posted on the Hezbollah Facebook page and shit? By the way, if you're watching, like, share, and sub. Shit helps. Appreciate it. If you hate this shit, if you're sick of being a goy slave, if you don't want to have your fucking American relatives and family die in needless bullshit, share this stuff. According to an unnamed Hezbollah official, the attack took 1,500 Hezbollah fighters out of action due to injuries. This is such unbelievable propaganda at this point. So the Hezbollah official is announcing it took out 1,500, exactly 1,500. Not about 1,500 or around 1,500. Took out 1,500 Hezbollah fighters exactly. Look at how fucking insane this is. Why do you use Wikipedia though? I already proved why I use Wikipedia. Do you want to see it again? Let's look at it again.
Moetzet Yesha, in conjunction with My Israel, has arranged instruction day for wiki editors. The goal of the day is to teach people how to edit in Wikipedia, which is the #1 source of information today in the world. As a way of example, if someone searches the Gaza flotilla, we want to be there. We want to be the guys who influence what is written there, how it's written, and to ensure that it's balanced and Zionist in nature.
Okay, so that's why. This is from 2010, right? This is from a 2010 interview where future Prime Minister Naftali Bennett flat out says that Wikipedia is the #1 source of information in the world, and they're teaching the editors how to edit things to have a pro-Zionist perspective, a balanced and Zionist perspective. So when people like you use, getting your information from as a cop-out to not have to answer for things, well, I try to take that out of the equation. And I'm now saying, I'm going to read from their source material. This is how they want us to know. And this article that I'm reading is locked up. So there is no editing. Even though you think you can edit Wikipedia, you can't. You can only edit Wikipedia if they deem it okay. If you can make the edit, if you're allowed to, if it's not locked up, and you make the edit, it then alerts the editors who check your edit to see if it works and it fits the Zionist perspective. And if it does, then it stays. If it doesn't, well, it's removed. Do you have proof? What did I just show you proof? Like, this is where the people that troll and try to interfere for hours at a time, day after day after day, saying nothing but stupidity, asking me for proof after I literally just showed you the proof. The video of the future prime minister, who was a high-ranking official at the time, bragging about how they control Wikipedia. And then I showed you through that Wikipedia, through the system that they want us to get our information from, the evidence as to how they control social media using the bot programs that they have called Team Jorge, and or the live interactive social media platform or organizations that they have that encourage the citizens, the regular people, to do their dirty work, to flag, report, and respond and attack people like me. What other proof would you need? Would you need me to get a signed document from Netanyahu's bitch, Donald Trump, that admits to this? What else do you need? Didn't Trump pulling out and pushing in Netanyahu's chair for him say enough to you? Show me the video of Trump getting somebody else's chair. I'm not that stupid, I guess. I don't need to be told everything to understand it. The reason why you look in the sources that they want you to have is because then there's no wiggle room. They can't get out of it. And not saying it's true, but this is what they want you to know. You are on to nothing, man. Sorry. Yep, I'm on to nothing. If I'm on to nothing, then why is there so much effort to try to get me to stop doing it? Why would you care? So what you're saying is what you do all day is look for people talking about just random things, and then you go on their page and you shouldn't talk about this. You shouldn't do it. I'm going to watch you day after day, hour after hour, but you shouldn't be doing what you're doing because it doesn't matter. Why would this happen if it wasn't important? Why would they be so desperate to interfere and influence people that I'm wrong, I'm crazy, I'm a crackhead, I'm all these things for reading you what they want us to know? It's not like I'm some super sleuth, cracking the code and reading you these hidden pages and shit. This is what they want you to know. They should be encouraging me. Yeah, good job. Read our stuff because, it's all true. Like, I know when you have the truth, when you have that confidence, you go live and you invite people to tell you what you're wrong about. You don't pass laws and legislation that punish people for talking about you. And that's literally what it's come down to. There are so many of us goyim having the correct conversation for a change that the President of the United States is destroying the First Amendment to protect a foreign country and a group that makes up 0.183% of the world's population and 2% of the US population. Never mind what's been done to blacks, never mind what's been done to natives, never mind all the historical bullshit that they give us. Because again, I don't necessarily believe a lot of that stuff either. You're still allowed to have your free speech. You're still allowed to fly your dumb Confederate flags and all these other things, right? But to criticize this foreign country, well, it's a state. They always refer to themselves as a state. The 51st state of the United States. To criticize this one group of people that hate you, that call you goyim. They believe that when the Messiah appears, when the Messiah comes, which is any day now, that we're in that time as far as they're concerned, that every single one of them will have 2,800 goyim Gentile slaves. That's what their main book, the Talmud, says. This is what they believe. There's nothing to debate about it. It's what they believe. Each one of them will have 2,800 slaves. Do you know how ridiculous that is, just in concept? That we would all just be willing to be slaves. Like 2,800 of us would just, be willing to bow down to earth. Do you know how easy it would be to take that shit over? There's no actual way to make that work out, like, in a literal sense. Now, if you're talking figuratively, well, I guess that sort of fits. But in a literal sense, it's fucking stupid. That's Muhammad. Yeah, no, that's them. And the thing is, Islam and Christianity are just offshoots of them to begin with. They are all three considered the Abrahamic religions. And Abraham is the father of the chosen people. That's the thing about you Christians, is you really are like, it's like you say, oh, the Bible is the truth, the Bible is this, the Bible is that. Do you understand that every single character in the Bible is Jewish? It's not a story for Christians. They talk about the Gentiles as a separate group of people. They mention the Gentiles several times, and each time it's like those Gentiles, not us Gentiles. It's not a story for Christians. I don't understand why Christians fall for it. It's fucking silly. And it's really an awful, awful narrative. It's a very supremacist narrative. But you'll notice that, like, look at the comments. None of these proud, well-knowing Christians are going to tell me what I'm getting wrong. Because they can't. What actually happens is they just get nasty. They get upset and they get nasty and start name calling and shit talking when all you got to do is tell me what I'm wrong about. You know, like an adult. All the same, you're Y-O-U-R, the expert. Yep. No, I'm not nearly as smart as the people that can't even get their yours right. Jesus loves you. Sure he does. We know they are all J's, but we follow a non-J. No, he's J. There is no reason to be insulting a religion based off your own views. The fact is, you don't know what you're talking about. So because, like most Christians, you don't know your own fucking Bible, you know, you just end up saying stupid shit that you heard at some point some pastor say or something like that. Most of you don't even know what the first thing God does. Your silly God, after it turns on the light, what's the first thing your God does? Like, most of you just don't know your Bible. You might have been forced to read it when you were a kid, but that means you just skip through a bunch of it. And you don't remember it very well. But most of you don't know any of that shit. Any woman that's on here, you must not be a fucking true Christian if you're talking your shit. Because you sure don't like Matthew 24, or 1 Timothy 2:11, 2:12. Let no woman have authority to teach over a man. I command her to be silent. Most people that are atheists have read it. The because of sacrifice and greed. Yeah, that's sort of what the story is, but that's not really the story. The whole story is more like Jesus' big thing is that people don't believe in him. That's his big thing. That's what he cares about more than anything. He walks around whining, why don't you just believe in me? I am the Father, the Son of the Father. You need to believe in me. It's pretty goofy. But again, most people don't fucking know what it says. They just say dumb shit. Yep, the devil. Oh, the devil. Not only do you believe in a fairy tale good guy, you actually believe in a fairy tale bad guy. You have an imaginary enemy too. Not just an imaginary friend, but an imaginary enemy who is, he's somehow way more powerful than your God, right? And your God can see everything and do. I always picture it like God's like, you know, making babies come to life and allowing clergy to rape children and you know, starving other people here and giving AIDS over here, while the devil's behind him doing something, and the God's like, what was that? And when he turns around, the devil goes behind him and does something over here. And it's just this constant thing where God's like turning around trying to see what the devil's doing. Because God could literally dinkle, dinkle, dink anything it wanted to exist or not exist. But it doesn't do that. It only helps people run fast, catch footballs and shit. I just want to say, without the glory of God, none of this is possible. Oh, my Father, my Holy Father. Like, it's so stupid. They always act like Christianity isn't, you know, is under attack, and they have to stand up for it, and they have to show their God who's watching. Oh shit, I forgot to praise God for my ability to throw a ball. Like they're gonna get in trouble and shit. It's so goofy. The argument of wanting to believe something over nothing does not lead you to Christian Bible. It leads you to something. I mean, you know, that argument that Christians always make that where did everything come from? Well, who created all this? You can't just get something from nothing. And you go, okay, so what made God? And they go, oh, God was always here. What? What do you mean God was always here? Something had to create that too, right? No, God was always here. You don't realize it, but your Big Bang Theory and your religious, it's the same fucking story. It's just tweaked a little bit. And I hate to admit it, but as dumb as fucking religious nonsense is, the whole religious bullshit Jesus fairy tale is, The Big Bang Theory is worse. It's even dumber. That shit is fucking stupid. And it's embarrassing to me that for such a long time I actually subscribed to it. Morning. Morning. What? Yeah, well, sucks to be you. So how did it happen? For me, wasting energy trying to figure out something I can't fucking figure out, I can't know, is stupid. If I really want to know the answers as to what shape the earth is and how all this happened and blah, 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 well, it's going to require us eliminating the genocide that's taking place. The only way we get the answers to all the questions and we fix the things that need fixing is the Goyim need to unify and overthrow the bad guys, the chosen bad guys that control our narrative. That's it. That's the answer to all of it. If you want to know the real shape of the earth, we got to stop the genocide. If you want to know whether God is real or whatever, we have to stop the genocide. If you want to do something about the pokes that are coming, you know, they're going to lock us down again. SEERS is the new COVID, SEERS. It's coming this fall, this winter. You want to stop that shit and the boosters and all that other shit that come with it, we have to stop the genocide that's taking place. You want to stop this pedophilia epidemic, we have to stop the genocide. The psychopaths committing genocide right now control all of these things. There is no fixing one little piece. This requires, you know, a large-scale operation. We can't just take little bits and pieces and fix those. They won't allow it to happen. You want to kill the monster, you don't cut off the tentacle. You have to cut off the head. Especially when this monster, if you do cut off the tentacle, 2 more grow in its place. The increase in religion and decreased education. Well, I mean, it's proven that people that grew up in religious households have a much harder time distinguishing fact from fiction. They have a much harder time with reality and dealing with things in reality because of their fantasy that they grew up in. You know, it's I mean, just again, look at my feed. Has there been a single religious person on here that has handled this in an intelligent, like noble Christian way? They've handled my objections and you know, explained things and all that. Has anybody tried? Not one of these fucking idiots do that. Not one of them is the good Christian they're supposed to be. But look at this shit. I love when people say I have no life while they watch me. Yeah, that's. I mean, this is again. We're gonna start going back in circles. They're gonna start bringing up submarines. It's just how this works. They literally have nothing to say. Yep, I'm ignoring them. You can always come up with the crybaby, but you can't actually make the point. I mean, I want back in school, yeah. See, this is the shit that you can write, but you can't be like, man, yeah, you're right. We need to kill those pedos. Not one of these fucking trolls says anything along those lines. Don't you think that's a little strange? Because I really think that most of you just don't realize how big the pedo problem is, right? When you look at how many pedo hunters exist just on YouTube, I mean, there's so many other platforms that these guys exist on, and they might not even be on YouTube. They might just be on these other platforms. I know DAP isn't on YouTube anymore because those guys like to beat the shit out of the pedophiles, which is fantastic. I can't tell you how amazing that is. But look at how many pedo hunters exist just on YouTube. And there are guys like Gordon Flowers who are catching people every day, and Gordon Flowers is a fucking bad guy. He's a piece of shit. I can't stand that dude. But the fact that he does this, that he outs pedos, well, he gets a pass by me. If that's what you do, if you only go after, you know, black guys who attack little boys, well, fine, whatever. You could be the most racist, homophobic person in the world. If you're going after the pedos, okay, good for you. You're doing good work. You're earning your shit right there. But the fact is, Gordon Flowers, Alex Rosen, is catching people every day. Doesn't seem to catch a lot of J's though. But he's catching people every day. And these are just the people that he's catching every day. These aren't the hundreds, thousands that hit up the profiles every day. These are just the people that they can catch. So when you understand that, like, that network, for them to be able to be caught every day, for it to be something where all you have to do is post the fake profile, and within minutes you're going to be hit up by tens of people. Bleep, bleep, bleep. Hey, what's going on? Hey, hey, hey. They might not all have the fucking compulsion to actually meet somebody, but they'll trade in pictures and videos and shit like that. And when you understand that this is, not only is this such a huge epidemic of a problem, that these are also people who are well versed in, you know, the shady side of the internet. They know how to operate in secret. They know how to manipulate things that most of us don't, because we don't do anything like that. So when you see what's on my feed and you see all these fake profiles able to manipulate the system, get around the security measures and all that shit, and they won't tell you why they're here other than, oh, this is entertaining. Like that's some sort of burn that I'm more entertaining than anything that, you know, Hollywoodism provides you. That I'm more entertaining than anyone else on the internet. Well, and it's entertaining that I'm calling you a pedo, and that I'm saying we should kill your kind and we should eliminate the cult and all that. If that's entertaining to you, okay, like, that's not a burn to me. But when you look at, like, you know, what's going on here, who is going to be angry with me? Who is going to consistently tell me to stop talking about these things? Who doesn't want me talking about killing pedos and overthrowing the chosen cult? A bunch of non-pedos? A bunch of Christians? A bunch of Muslims? No. It's the same Team Jorge, Act IL kind of bullshit. Like, that's the only thing that makes sense. Who is going to waste hours of their life, day after day after day, month after month, begging for the attention of someone they hate? I said this yesterday, but you know, I used to watch the 700 Club all the time. After the news went off, then the 700 Club would come on, and the 700 Club, it's actually the 700 Club is why I knew that Trump signed the legislation that said all colleges and universities had to have a pro-Israel curriculum and remove any BDS and all that stuff. He did that the Tuesday after Kobe died. Kobe died on a Sunday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday is all the news was talking about. Wednesday, one of Trump's impeachments was said to come to a close. So that sort of switched the news cycle, and they had Kobe on top of it. But the Tuesday before, Netanyahu, who was under indictment and all this other shit, he flew here, and had his arm on Trump's shoulder while Trump signed the legislation saying that, you know, free speech, killing free speech, attacking free speech. Right? Like it's so weird. But I watched I used to watch 700 Club because I just hated it, and it was, to me, it was such a great example of everything wrong with religion. You know, these guys pretending like they can hear your prayers through the TV and then command Jesus to fix your ailment as long as you're sowing seeds, $1,000 seeds and shit. You know, that thing you've been praying for and Jesus is seemingly ignored. Well, now Pat Robertson's gonna tell Jesus to fix it, and Jesus will fix it for you. But I hated it, you know. I watched it every day, but I hated it. The thing is, I didn't have the opportunity to speak to the people live. If I would have had an opportunity to actually say shit directly to Pat and Gordon and Wendy and all those other clowns, where I could see them read my shit, how it affected them, their body language, if they responded or not, like I could actually had a way to speak to them, I would have been taking full advantage of it. And I wouldn't have been saying shit like, Gordon, your hair looks stupid, and Pat, you look like a fucking weird gremlin and shit. Like I wouldn't have wasted my time with that. I would have been asking them all the same shit I say here. Like, why is the 700 Club so supportive of bad guy land when you know there's lots and lots of Christians in Palestine that are being killed by them? Why aren't you guys standing up? You know, I've called the 700 Club many times and tried to have this conversation. They wouldn't put me through, and they eventually hung up on me. But I would have loved to been able to actually interact with those people, and I wouldn't have been a coward about it. You know, I would have just roasted the guy with truth and made him look stupid by destroying his arguments. I mean, I don't care about what dudes look like physically, so it is what it is. I do know the right you're to use, Alan, so we know you don't, so I guess I'm smarter than you. I mean, look at this dumbass comments. I can start reading at any time, and there's not going to be a comment addressing what I'm saying. I can ignore and ignore, and as soon as I look down and start reading, it'll just be some other dumb shit. Are you homeless? Fun fact, Pat Robertson's dad was a senator. Everyone report this channel. Get him taken down. He's dangerous. I'm dangerous. This is what, I mean, I just happened to look down and read that. That's what they say. I'll genuinely answer your religious questions, even though you've blasphemed the loaded name. If you would stop acting so ignorant and immature, man. At your age, smarten up, young man. Yeah, this is how that... So, you were able to write all that shit down, yet not one of those things actually addresses what I'm saying. You couldn't say that it's real because, or you know, any of it. You just, it's just more shit talk. Gotcha. Get people that stupid, get a platform, you own you, just trolling like you. Like this is, again, you see what I'm saying? Nobody's actually addressing anything that's being said. Not one of these people is talking about why we should kill pedos. Not one of these people is talking about why we should rise up above the chosen fucking control scheme. The Matitza Bipa you know, SA ritual control scheme. Why don't you people know anything? I know you don't, like, I know based on experience that you really don't know anything about any of it. I'd like to believe that if you could respond with any sort of intelligence, you would. But you don't tend to prove that. Or you do prove it, actually, I guess, because you don't come at me with any sort of intelligence. It's such an interesting, you know, it's always so interesting how this works out. I'll be done in a little bit. I'll be done in a little bit. You know what? I'm not about. You all have yourselves a wonderful day. I highly encourage you guys, especially you dumb Jays, like, do better, man. This is a platform where you can prove that all of the misconceptions about you are untrue. You can prove that people like me are just wrong because you are much smarter than I say you are. Your beliefs aren't horrible. You know, you could do that, but you never seem to. And I guess you're just not smart enough to realize that your inability, you know, lack of evidence is evidence against. You know, like, it's a strange thing to witness how, you know, this people that is supposedly so proud and so superior to all of us.
Yep.
That they come across as inferior in every way. The only reason why they're in the position that they're in is because they're a well-organized, well-oiled machine, and because they're so savage. Because they're the ones that are willing to do things like starve an entire population. You know, the Goyim aren't like that. You know, and they've had to learn that the hard way.
Okay.
They've learned that you know, showing us pictures like the you know, the Vietnam footage and shit. That was a mistake on their end. You know, that was they screwed up. They thought that if they showed us these horrible images, we would be the savages they are, and it would encourage us, it would motivate us. And it had the opposite effect. We were appalled by what they showed us. We resisted it. You know, you show us the little girl running down the street with her arms out and her skin's flying off, and she's just been napalmed. You know, we don't go yay like they do. It bothers us. It destroys us. And we say, no, stop this killing, stop this unnecessary shit. What are you doing? And that's not, you know, they were shocked. They thought, you know, because that's how they are. There's this one interview from back when they were claiming that you know, bad guy land is under attack because the Hamas or the Hezbollah or whatever it is putting incendiary devices on balloons and flying them over the wall, which again, nobody questions the wall. And lighting, you know, every time one of those would land, they didn't land on like a building and catch a building on fire. It was always a vacant lot that had overgrowth, that they wanted to get rid of the overgrowth. So they would light this lot on fire and then say, oh, an incendiary balloon came. And you know, this was their tactics for a while. They even had a press conference where some Hamas representatives came in their you know, their khaki outfits with their black balaclavas on and their green headbands so you know where to hit the headshot. And they came out and they did a demonstration of how they fill balloons and then attach incendiary devices to them, and they showed it like to the news cameras, and then afterward they just walked back over the sand and I guess disappeared. Like, it was such an obviously staged bunch of bullshit, right? But what they you know, they interviewed a bad guy civilian, you know, just a random person in his Corvette or whatever it was. And they asked him, what do you think we should do about these incendiary devices? And he said, take down a building. Every time they send one of those over the wall, we take down one of their buildings, women and children and everything. We take them down. And if we take down enough of their buildings, they'll stop sending the balloons over. Because that's how their heads think, you know. Not just an eye for an eye, like an eye for 10 bodies. You hurt us, we're going to attack you tenfold with weapons, and you know, we're not going to attack you face to face. We're not going to, you know, like one of the things I've said now for well over a year is all of these fake profiles that are on here. Every single one of you could gain just a little bit of credibility if you'd make a video titled, you know, Guy Williams Sucks. You make a Guy Williams Sucks video showing that you're a real person. You talk your shit about me for, you know, I'd say don't do a short because you're not going to be able to get very much. But you could, you know, you could make a quick short and prove that you're a real person, I guess. But you could make a short little video talking about how shitty I am and then send it to me. And I'll even play it on the feed here. I'll show everybody else exactly who is behind one of these profiles, and like we can all see for ourselves that it is actually real people and it's not a bunch of bots. And not one of them, not a single one of them has taken me up on that offer. Not a single one. And you would think at this point, like I've pointed it out so often, that they would just hire somebody or do something to make it at least seem real. But not one of them makes a Guy Williams Sucks video. Isn't that strange? Why not? Like, it's instant credibility. You know, one of the easiest outs I have in this is that you're just another Team Jorge bot. You know, I can always go with that because that's always how it seems. But you guys could easily make me look stupid. And then, you know, in the video, you could point out some of the things that I'm actually getting wrong. This could really work out well for you. And for all those people that say like, oh, you just want that to go viral so you can get attention. If you think you can make videos that go viral, why aren't you? You could be making money off of your stupid videos. Or, on the opposite side, if you're really that worried about it, leave it up until I show it, and then take it down right away. You're watching me anyway, so you could see that I played it, and then take it down. You know, because it'll go viral. You think it'll go viral, right? And he says, Jorge, he's talking about Israeli contacts that run social media, but it just seems to be another made-up fallacy. It's a made-up fallacy that there's a fucking Wikipedia page about it? Who made it up? Like, at least, so here we go, at least somebody is acknowledging it, and we'll have to do the Lebanon attacks a different day. I don't have time for it today. But Team Jorge, I mean, how am I making that up? Yeah. Oh wait, we gotta do. Here's The Guardian, African News, DW, People's Dispatch, the Jerusalem Post, Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Page, the Haaretz, The Guardian again, Le Monde, Palestinian Chronicle. These are all websites. France 24, the Jerusalem Post. And you can't say, oh, these are just conspiracy websites. The Haaretz and Jerusalem Post, these are Israeli websites. Can Israel stop ex-intel agents from breaking, what the fuck? Human rights. The links between Israel-based Team Jorge and the French presenter who aired. Israeli firm Team Jorge exposed for manipulating elections in more than 30 countries. Team Jorge en masse, the secret disinformation team who distort reality. The Israeli agents of chaos. I mean, what part are you missing here? Here, we'll read the Haaretz, because this is the Haaretz, or the Haaretz, or however you say it. Hey, that's their page. The global deception and destabilization industry and the Israeli connection. Full article. From a small office building, a group of Israelis is spreading global disruption. The people who kill the truth. No morals, no qualms, no borders. Tal Heyman and Team Jorge have turned chaos into business. One evening last July, Mashi Median, 63, a well-known figure in the corporate intelligence sphere, was contacted via an intermediary by an unknown foreign business advisor. In a Zoom conversation a few days later, the advisor, who had a French accent and wore granny glasses, said he represented a businessman who was close to the ruling family in a French-speaking African country that he did not name. Without fanfare, the advisor explained to this interlocutor the reason for the call. There will be an election at the end of September, and according to my client, that election cannot happen. Median inferred immediately that the country was Chad, a conflict-ridden desert land of meager resources in the heart of Africa. The scale of the mission did not faze him, and his questions were mainly of a technical nature. Did the advisor have a list of phone numbers of the commanders in the Chad army or of those who were against the move? The advisor promised to look into the matter and get back to Median with an answer. Median used the pseudonym in the conversation, calling himself Max. He continued to use that name in the next Zoom conversation, which took place a few days later. This was when the advisor first met Jorge, an exuberant man who now took the lead in relations with the client. Jorge's identity remained a secret during subsequent Zoom meetings, which were conducted in English. His voice was clear, but his webcam transmitted only a blurred image. Gee, that's weird. Kind of familiar. The same pattern was repeated when two ostensible advisors of the mystery client joined the conversations. One an American, the other a former Israeli. The pixelated Jorge turned out to be a first-rate salesman. In a jaw-dropping presentation to the clients, he revealed an array of tools at his disposal to achieve the ends for which the clients had approached him. Cyber attacks, transnational disinformation campaigns, forged documents, incrimination of political advisories, dissemination of fake reports, theft of bank documents. Each of the tools was an instrument that could be used to break down resistance to political moves or just to liquidate, in every non-physical sense, the client's political, personal, and business rivals. Without restraints, without morality, without discrimination, Jorge's toolbox could be placed at the disposal of anyone ready to pay for it, even if its use resulted in an immediate danger to life. In one of the meetings, Median suggested destabilizing Chad as a means to delay the elections. In another meeting, the advisors explained that there may be an explosion in a market in the capital, N'Djamena, to justify this postponement. That did not deter Jorge, who asked for €6 million, $6.4 million, to see the campaign through. Jorge claimed that he and his staff had meddled in 33 presidential-level election campaigns around the world, and 27 of them successfully. Even if he was exaggerating, this investigation shows that he tried to intervene in a number of elections in various countries over the past decade. A separate article, which is also being published today, is devoted to the tools he used to achieve his goals. Oh shit, I need to read that one. To impress his clients, he took them on a tour of private conversations being conducted by cabinet ministers in Kenya and Mozambique, and Gmail accounts and Telegram, the instant messaging application. It was explained to the clients that Jorge had hacked the correspondence of prominent African personalities while providing service to other clients. He also claimed responsibility for the infamous cyber attack that was intended to sabotage a referendum on the Catalan independence in 2024. He also relayed how a client paid him to help in the arrest of a Canadian fashion tycoon, Peter Nygaard, for alleged sex crimes. And he boasted of a 2015 attack on the phones of the opposition party in Nigeria within the framework of an election campaign, in which, as the investigation subsequently discovered, he worked together with the notorious UK consulting firm Cambridge Analytica. On top of this came a presentation of software, the likes of which had never been seen before. This system ran an army of avatars, fake identities, on social media sites, disseminating rumors, harassment, defamation of praise, whatever the client asked for. Some of the activity, Jorge casually admitted, is used to inflate the value of cryptocurrency. All of this can be revealed because Jorge's interlocutors, also used pseudonyms. The French advisor is actually Frédéric Médezou, the Radio France correspondent in Israel. The American and Israeli advisors are the writers of this article. The investigative report being published here is the fruit of 9 months of international cooperation with dozens of journalists toiling to verify as much as possible in details that Jorge revealed in the series of recorded meetings. Journalists from blah, 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 the proprietors of this toxic international chaos machine, as uncovered in the course of the investigation, are two Israeli brothers, Tal and Zohar. I never heard about Zohar. Maybe I forgot about it. Zohar Hanan, who live and work in the Israeli community of Modi'in. The investigative report on Team Jorge, also as the group called themselves in all presentations, is part of a more extensive journalistic project, Story Killers, which deals with the disinformation for hire industry. Okay, so that's basically the end of the article. So let's find the separate article. Hacking, extortion, election interference, these are the tools used by Israel's agent of chaos and manipulation. Thank you, my love. It was a wonderful night. Waiting for you whenever you come back. Read the note attached to... Oh, I don't get to read this. Oh, fuck. I have to sign in. I'd have to be a part of the page to be able to read this one. The cyber weapons a key Israeli company offers its clients in order to corrupt democracies across the globe. So this is that thing I'm making up, right? I just made all this up. None of this is true. The Team Jorge stuff just isn't true, right? And there's just countless articles. All you got to do is look it up. All you have to do is look it up. It's everywhere. There's so much to it. And the fact that, that they tried to even be smart about it. Well, he's talking about blah, 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 but that's just another one of these made up conspiracies. Like, it's obviously important to them that you guys don't realize what it is, or else they wouldn't put this kind of effort in. But look at how they're not actually talking about what's being talked about, right? Look at these dumb comments. Look at how desperate the system is to try to get us to not know what's going on. And to me, this is as smoking gun as it gets. This is literally them showing you that they control social media. And if they can do it on such high presidential levels, then of course they can do it to dumbasses like me. Anyway, go get your free download. Description. The links will be in the description. Free download, www.the-bilderberg, bilderberg-group.com. It's music. It's free. It'll ask you how much you want to pay to download it. You can put 0 and it's free. Or you can donate, which we appreciate. Thank you, all those that have. All we ever ask is that you share it with someone. Just play it in the car or do something. But if you're tired of the same old bullshit, Bacardi party, shoot, 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 kill, 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 drugs, 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 bitches, hoes. If you're sick of that shit, then you might want to check this out. It's not going to be what you expect, so don't go in there with any expectations that you've heard anything like it before, because you haven't. It's something completely different. So go check it out. And it has the balls to say the right things. I'm also going to leave you a link to Hollywoodism, which is the most important film ever made. Not just conspiracy films, but, piece of film ever made. It's not a conspiracy. It's not like an Obama deception or loose change or something like that. It's not made by somebody outside of the group. Hollywoodism is them. They made it. The relatives of the founders made a video where they talk about not exactly how they created Hollywood, but that they did create Hollywood, that they controlled it with an iron fist, and that they used it to create the reality, the best reality for them, the reality they wanted. At one point, one of the broads says, well, you could say the American dream is the bad guy-ish dream. Like, they don't even hide it. They're so brazen in their arrogance that this is how they operate, right? So I'm going to leave you the link to that.
Brush your teeth.
I'm going to leave you the links to the 2 of our newest songs, the videos that are on Facebook. One is COVID Sauce. The other one is Donald Trump Hates America. Go check those out. Go share those. This is how we defeat the enemy. I could get all the machine guns I want and try to catch a ride to Palestine so I could go try to take out Netanyahu. But you've been watching too many movies if you think that's possible. That's not how things work. How it works is what they're scared of. And they're clearly terrified of me. Not just people like me, but me. They put in a tremendous amount of effort to try to get you guys to stay away and to get me to stop doing the thing that they watch every day for hours at a time. Seems counterproductive, but they're scared of me. So, show that you're not scared of them and share the stuff. Like, share, sub the video. Like, share, sub the Facebook page. Go watch Hollywoodism. I've challenged you guys every day for quite some time to go watch Hollywoodism and tell me how I'm misinterpreting it. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Everybody that watches it, watch it very intently. Pay attention. Rewind if you have to. Can't be something that you watch in the background. You have to pay attention because a lot of it is subtle. But go watch Hollywoodism. It'll blow your fucking mind. Everybody have a great day. And as always, the most important thing I say is we can't do it in our society. We're not allowed to. Our society doesn't handle it the right way, because so many of the members in the upper crust partake in the debauchery. So I'm begging you, as one human to another human, you pedophiles are the worst things ever, right? You're just, what you do is just atrocious. And all you do is cause pain and fuck things up. Like, there's literally nothing good that comes out of it. So do one good thing in your life, and pedophiles, kill yourself.